Welcome to the China. China, a vast country with a rich history and breathtaking natural beauty, always offers unforgettable experiences for anyone who sets foot here. Let me take you on a journey to explore some of its most famous landmarks, where culture, history, and nature intertwine to create an irresistible allure. We begin at Zhangjiajie National Forest Park, a place that feels like it has stepped straight out of a sci-fi movie. Towering sandstone pillars covered in lush greenery create a surreal landscape that's almost too incredible to believe. This was the inspiration for the movie Avatar, and I promise, standing atop those natural bridges will make you feel the true magnitude of nature's wonders. From Zhangjiajie, I'll take you to the Great Wall of China, one of the seven wonders of the world. Stretching thousands of miles over mountains and deserts, this wall is not only a symbol of resilience, but also a testament to the ingenuity and effort of ancient builders. Walking on the time-worn stones, you can almost feel the breath of history and the pride of the Chinese people. Our journey continues with a cultural exploration of the Fujian Tulou, unique roundhouses built from rammed earth. These structures are more than just homes. They are symbols of community unity and resilience against natural challenges. Stepping inside, you'll be greeted by the warmth of the locals and fascinating stories about life in these historic dwellings. Don't miss a visit to the Forbidden City in Beijing, the Grand Imperial Palace, famous for its magnificent architecture and centuries-long history. Walking through its many halls and chambers feels like stepping into an ancient novel filled with power, strategy, and artistry. If you're a nature lover, head to Jiuzhaigou, home to jade green lakes and cascading waterfalls nestled in pristine forests. This is truly a paradise on earth, where every photo you take looks like a masterpiece. I have also stood in awe before the grandeur of the Potala Palace in Tibet, a breathtaking blend of Buddhist architecture and snowy mountain scenery. The serenity and sacredness of this place purify the soul, making everyday worries seem to melt away. Additionally, I was captivated by the unique charm of Yanjin County, the narrowest town in the world, built along the Yangtze River. Its houses perched on cliff edges create a spectacle unlike anything you'll find elsewhere. Or venture to Inner Mongolia, where endless grasslands invite you to feel the boundless freedom of standing amidst vast, open fields. Finally, our journey concludes in Xian, the home of the legendary Terracotta Army. Seeing these intricately carved warriors, created thousands of years ago, left me in awe of the creativity and skill of ancient artisans. China truly is a vivid mosaic of history, culture, and natural beauty. The places I've mentioned are just a small glimpse of the countless stunning wonders scattered across this vast land. Each destination, each landmark, carries its own unique stories and values, waiting for you to discover. Now, are you ready to join me on this incredible journey through China? Imagine standing on the Great Wall, wandering among Zhangjiajie's surreal stone pillars, or marveling at the sacred beauty of the Potala Palace. If you're ready, leave a comment below to let me know, and let's plan this inspiring adventure together. Who knows, this trip might just become one of the most unforgettable memories of your life. When I first set foot in Zhangjiajie National Forest Park, it felt like stepping into another world, a place where nature has sculpted a masterpiece that defies imagination. Towering sandstone pillars, some reaching over 1,000 feet into the sky, surrounded me, their tops often cloaked in mist. It was like walking through a scene from a fantasy novel or a dream, and I immediately understood why this place inspired the floating mountains in Avatar. Exploring the park was an adventure like no other. I started my journey at Tianzi Mountain, climbing to viewpoints that revealed an endless sea of these towering rock formations. The way the clouds floated between the pillars made it seem like I was looking out over a world suspended in the heavens. I could have stayed there for hours, just taking in the surreal beauty. From there, I wandered along the Golden Whip Stream, a tranquil path that winds through a lush valley surrounded by towering cliffs. The sound of the clear water trickling over stones and the occasional chirping of birds was so soothing. It felt like nature itself was singing a lullaby. Along the way, I even caught glimpses of monkeys swinging through the trees, adding a playful charm to the serene atmosphere. The highlight of my trip, though, was the Beilong Elevator, the world's tallest outdoor elevator. As I ascended the glass-sided lift, I watched the landscape unfold beneath me, each second offering a new, breathtaking perspective. At the top, the view was simply unforgettable. A vast expanse of sandstone peaks stretching as far as the eye could see. For a heart-pounding experience, I decided to brave the Zhangjiajie Glass Bridge. Standing on the transparent floor, suspended over a canyon 300 meters below, was both terrifying and exhilarating. Every step tested my courage, but the thrill of looking straight down into the depths of the canyon was worth it. Zhangjiajie isn't just about its stunning scenery, it's alive with biodiversity. I encountered rare plants, colorful birds, and even the occasional mischievous monkey along my trek. And let's not forget the cultural charm. Meeting the local Tujia and Miao communities added a layer of history and tradition that made my visit even more special. Zhangjiajie National Forest Park isn't just a destination. It's an experience that stays with you long after you leave. Walking among its majestic pillars, breathing in its fresh mountain air, and marveling at the wonders of nature made me feel both humbled and inspired. If you ever get the chance to visit, take it. You'll discover a world like no other, and I promise you'll never forget it. After leaving Zhangjiajie's ethereal landscapes, my next stop was a place equally awe-inspiring, but steeped in human history, the Great Wall of China. Standing on this monumental structure for the first time, I couldn't help but feel the weight of its legacy, stretching thousands of miles over rugged mountains, dense forests, and arid deserts. It was as if I had stepped back in time, walking alongside the countless people who had once built and defended this magnificent wall. I started my journey at Mutianyu, one of the best preserved and less crowded sections of the wall. As I climbed the stone steps, the sheer scale of the wall became more and more apparent. Each brick seemed to hold the stories of the laborers, soldiers, and emperors who played their roles in creating and maintaining this colossal structure. The views from the top were breathtaking. Rolling hills, blanketed in lush greenery, stretched as far as the eye could see, with the Great Wall snaking its way across the landscape like a majestic dragon. Walking along the wall, I encountered ancient watchtowers that once served as lookout points and shelters for soldiers. Standing inside one of these towers, I could imagine the watchmen of centuries past, scanning the horizon for signs of approaching enemies. It was a humbling reminder of the wall's original purpose as a defensive barrier to protect the Chinese Empire. For a more adventurous experience, I ventured to the Jiangkou section, known for its steep, unrestored paths. The rugged beauty of this part of the wall, with its crumbling stones and overgrown vegetation, offered a raw and authentic glimpse into history. Climbing the uneven steps and navigating narrow ridges was challenging, but the sense of accomplishment and the sweeping panoramic views made every effort worthwhile. What struck me most was how the Great Wall seemed to blend harmoniously with its surroundings. It wasn't just a barrier, it was an architectural masterpiece that worked with the natural landscape to create something truly extraordinary. Whether it was the golden glow of sunrise, the misty haze of a cloudy morning, or the fiery hues of sunset, every moment on the wall felt magical. Visiting the Great Wall of China isn't just a sightseeing experience, it's a journey through time and a tribute to human ingenuity and perseverance. As I descended from the wall, my legs a little sore, but my heart full of admiration, I knew this wasn't just a landmark, it was a symbol of resilience and unity, a piece of history that continues to inspire. If you ever have the chance to stand on the Great Wall and look out over its vast expanse, don't hesitate. It's an experience that will leave you in awe. Leaving the grandeur of the Great Wall behind, I ventured south to the enchanting Fujian Tulou, a hidden gem nestled in the lush countryside of southeastern China. These massive circular earthen buildings, scattered across the rolling hills of Fujian province, are a fascinating blend of architecture, culture, and community spirit. As I approached, the Tulou stood like ancient fortresses, their sturdy, earth-colored walls rising in harmony with the surrounding green landscape. Stepping inside one of these remarkable structures, I was immediately struck by the sense of warmth and life that filled the space. The Tulou are not just buildings, they're living communities, housing dozens of families under one roof. The central courtyard buzzed with activity as children played, elders chatted, and the aromas of home-cooked meals wafted through the air. It was a world within a world, protected by the thick outer walls that have withstood centuries of time and turmoil. The architecture of the Tulou is a testament to the ingenuity of the Hakka people who built them. The round design wasn't just for aesthetics, it was a practical choice, providing both defense against invaders and a sense of equality among the residents. Every family had their own section of the building, with shared communal spaces fostering a strong sense of unity. As I explored the narrow wooden staircases and peered into the intricately decorated living quarters, I couldn't help but marvel at the craftsmanship and thoughtfulness that went into creating these unique homes. I also had the chance to learn about the history and traditions of the Hakka people, whose resilience and resourcefulness are as impressive as the Tulou themselves. Over tea with a local family, I heard stories of how these buildings have been passed down through generations, serving as a symbol of cultural identity and pride. It was heartwarming to see how the Tulou continue to thrive as vibrant communities, even in today's modern world. One of the most memorable moments was standing on the balcony of a Tulou at sunset, watching as the golden light bathed the surrounding hills and rice paddies. The peacefulness of the scene, combined with the deep sense of history that permeated the air, left me feeling profoundly connected to this place and its people. After the vibrant warmth of Fujian Tulou, my journey took me to the tranquil and spiritual Zizhu Temple, a hidden sanctuary nestled amidst the rolling hills and bamboo forests of China. As I approached the temple, its golden roofs glimmered under the soft sunlight, peeking through a sea of lush greenery. The name Zizhu translates to purple bamboo, and it felt as though the entire temple was cradled by nature, exuding an air of peace and serenity. The moment I stepped through the gates, a profound sense of calm washed over me. The gentle rustling of bamboo leaves in the wind and the occasional toll of a bell created an atmosphere of quiet contemplation. Monks in saffron robes moved gracefully through the temple grounds, their presence reinforcing the sacred energy of the place. It felt like I had entered a world removed from the chaos of everyday life. The architecture of Zizhu Temple was both elegant and understated, with intricate carvings and traditional red and gold accents adorning the halls. Inside the main hall, I found a towering golden Buddha statue, its serene expression embodying the essence of enlightenment. The flickering flames of incense sticks and the soft murmur of prayers created a deeply spiritual ambiance. It was a space that seemed to invite you to pause, reflect, and connect with something greater than yourself. Wandering through the temple complex, I discovered quiet courtyards and meditation spaces, each designed to harmonize with the natural surroundings. One of the highlights was a beautiful pond, filled with koi fish, surrounded by a bamboo grove. Sitting by the water, I felt a profound connection to the simplicity and beauty of the moment, as though time itself had slowed down. Zizhu Temple is not just a place of worship, it's a retreat for the soul. Visitors are encouraged to join in meditation sessions or listen to the monks' teachings, which often emphasize mindfulness and compassion. Even as a visitor, I felt welcomed into the rhythms of temple life, gaining a deeper understanding of Buddhist philosophy and the importance of finding balance in a fast-paced world. Before I left, I climbed a nearby hill to a lookout point that offered a sweeping view of the temple nestled in its bamboo forest. The scene was breathtaking, a perfect blend of human artistry and nature's beauty. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the temple grounds, I couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for the experience. After the serene retreat at Zizhu Temple, my journey led me to a destination unlike any other, Yanjin County, often called the narrowest town in the world. Nestled precariously between steep cliffs along the banks of the Nangxi River, Yanjin is a marvel of human adaptation to nature's challenges. As I arrived, I was immediately struck by how the entire town seemed to cling to the cliffsides, with its buildings stacked one above another, defying gravity in an astonishing display of ingenuity. Walking through the streets of Yanjin felt like stepping into a living postcard. The narrow valley allowed just enough space for a single road and a few rows of buildings on either side of the river. The sheer cliffs towered above, creating a dramatic backdrop that felt both imposing and awe-inspiring. Life here flows to the rhythm of the river, and everywhere I turned, there were sights that showcased the harmony between people and their environment. The architecture of Yanjin is fascinating. Homes and shops are built vertically, often with multiple levels, to maximize the limited space available. Narrow staircases and pathways wind their way up and down the town, creating a labyrinth that's as charming as it is unique. I couldn't help but marvel at how the residents have carved out a vibrant community in such a confined space. It's a testament to human resilience and creativity. The Nangxi River is the lifeblood of Yanjin, and watching it flow gently through the town was both calming and mesmerizing. Small wooden boats bobbed along the water, while locals went about their daily lives with a quiet determination. The bridges connecting the two sides of the town added a picturesque touch, their reflections shimmering in the river like something out of a painting. One of the highlights of my visit was the chance to sample the local cuisine. Despite its size, Yanjin is rich in culinary delights. I tried freshly caught river fish, cooked with fragrant herbs and spices, paired with steaming bowls of rice and locally brewed tea. The flavors were simple, yet incredibly satisfying, a reflection of the town's humble and grounded way of life. After the narrow wonders of Yanjin County, my journey brought me to the heart of China's imperial past, the Forbidden City in Beijing. Standing before its towering crimson walls and golden rooftops, I was immediately transported back to a time of emperors and dynasties where power, mystery, and grandeur intertwined. This immense palace complex, once the exclusive domain of the Ming and Qing emperors, felt like a gateway to another era, brimming with history and untold stories. Crossing the stone bridge over the wide moat, I entered through the imposing Meridian Gate, the largest and most magnificent gate of the Forbidden City. As I stepped inside, I was struck by the sheer scale of the place. Spanning 180 acres, the Forbidden City is a labyrinth of courtyards, halls, and pavilions, each more stunning than the last. The symmetry and precision of its design were awe-inspiring, a reflection of the Chinese belief in balance and harmony. Walking through the grand courtyards and climbing the marble steps to the Hall of Supreme Harmony, I could almost hear the echoes of ceremonial drums and the whispers of palace intrigues. This hall, the largest and most important building in the Forbidden City, was where emperors held their most significant events, from coronations to state banquets. Standing in its shadow, I felt a profound respect for the craftsmanship that created such an enduring masterpiece. After the grandeur of the Forbidden City, My journey took me high into the mountains to a place that seemed to touch the heavens itself, the Potala Palace in Lhasa, Tibet. As I approached, the iconic red and white structure perched atop Mapo Ri Hill took my breath away. Rising majestically against the backdrop of the snow-capped Himalayas, the Potala Palace seemed like a bridge between the earthly and the divine. This UNESCO World Heritage Site, once the winter residence of the Dalai Lama, is not only an architectural marvel, but also a symbol of Tibetan culture and spirituality. Climbing the winding stone steps leading up to its gates, I felt the altitude in every breath, but the anticipation of exploring this sacred place kept me going. Reaching the top, I was rewarded with panoramic views of Lhasa, its sprawling cityscape surrounded by vast plains and towering peaks. Stepping inside the Potala Palace, I was enveloped in an atmosphere of reverence and history. The palace is divided into two sections: the White Palace, which served as the administrative quarters, and the Red Palace, dedicated to religious study and prayer. The contrast between these two sections highlights the dual nature of the palace as both a seat of power and a spiritual sanctuary. As I wandered through the palace's labyrinthine corridors and rooms, I was struck by the richness of the decorations. Walls adorned with intricate murals depicted scenes from Tibetan history and Buddhist teachings. Golden statues of Buddhas, bodhisattvas, and deities gleamed in the soft light of yak butter lamps, filling the air with a faint, earthy aroma. The sheer number of sacred relics and treasures stored within the palace was staggering, each a testament to Tibet's deep spiritual heritage. One of the most awe-inspiring spaces was the Chapel of the Dalai Lama, where an enormous golden stupa houses the remains of past Dalai Lamas. The detail and craftsmanship of the stupa were breathtaking, with gemstones and gold leaf sparkling in the dim light. Standing in this sacred space, I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of peace and connection to something greater than myself. The Potala Palace isn't just a historical site, it's a living symbol of Tibetan resilience and spirituality. The devotion of the pilgrims who travel great distances to circumambulate the palace or offer prayers at its gates is a powerful reminder of its significance to the Tibetan people. After the spiritual heights of the Potala Palace, my journey brought me to Jiuzhaigou, a place that seemed like it was plucked straight out of a dream. Nestled in the mountains of Sichuan Province, Jiuzhaigou, or Nine Villages Valley, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site renowned for its breathtaking natural beauty. From the moment I arrived, I was spellbound by its otherworldly landscapes, where crystal-clear lakes, cascading waterfalls, and snow-capped peaks come together to create a paradise on Earth. The first thing that struck me about Jiuzhaigou was the color of its waters. Lakes and streams shimmering in shades of turquoise, emerald, and sapphire. The Five-Flower Lake, in particular, felt magical. Its vibrant hues, caused by mineral deposits and algae, reflected the surrounding trees and mountains like a perfect mirror. Standing on its shores, I could barely believe such a place was real. It was as if nature had painted this masterpiece just to leave us in awe. Wandering further into the valley, I encountered the Nuorilang waterfall, one of the largest and most iconic waterfalls in Jiuzhaigou. The sound of water cascading down the rocky cliffs was both powerful and soothing, and the mist created a shimmering veil that danced in the sunlight. I spent what felt like hours here, simply soaking in the grandeur and energy of this natural wonder. The charm of Jiuzhaigou isn't just in its larger landmarks, it's in the little moments of discovery. I found myself mesmerized by the serene beauty of the Pearl Shoals, where water ripples over a bed of small, shiny stones, creating patterns that look like liquid silver. The tranquility of these spots made me pause and appreciate the intricate details of nature. Jiuzhaigou is also deeply connected to Tibetan and Xian cultures, and I could feel this spiritual presence throughout the valley. Small prayer flags fluttered in the breeze, and traditional wooden houses in the local villages blended harmoniously with the landscape. Meeting the local people and hearing their stories added a rich layer of cultural depth to the experience, reminding me that this valley isn't just a natural wonder. It's a place that has been cherished and protected for centuries. After the serene beauty of Jiuzhaigou, my journey led me to Xian, a city where the echoes of China's ancient past reverberate through bustling modern streets. Known as the starting point of the Silk Road and the ancient capital of multiple dynasties, Xian is a living museum, brimming with history, culture, and unforgettable sights. The highlight of my visit, and perhaps one of the greatest archaeological discoveries in the world, was the Terracotta Army. As I entered the excavation pits, I was awestruck by the sheer scale and detail of this ancient wonder. Thousands of life-sized warriors, horses, and chariots, each unique in expression and design, stood in silent formation. It was humbling to think about the craftsmanship and dedication that went into creating this army over 2,000 years ago to guard Emperor Qin Shi Huang in the afterlife. Walking among these statues felt like stepping back in time to an era of great ambition and innovation. But Xian is far more than just its terracotta soldiers. I explored the ancient city wall, one of the best preserved city walls in China. Walking or cycling along its 13-kilometer perimeter offered a unique perspective of the city, a juxtaposition of old and new, with traditional rooftops on one side and modern skyscrapers on the other. The wall, with its sturdy stone structure and watchtowers, serves as a powerful reminder of Xi'an's historical importance and its role as a fortress city. In the heart of Xi'an, I visited the Muslim Quarter, a vibrant hub of culture and cuisine. The streets were alive with the aroma of freshly cooked delicacies, the chatter of vendors, and the hum of visitors exploring this lively neighborhood. I couldn't resist sampling the local specialties: juicy lamb skewers, hand-pulled biang-biang noodles, and the famous rujiamo, often referred to as the Chinese hamburger. Each bite was a celebration of Xi'an's diverse culinary heritage, influenced by centuries of trade along the Silk Road. Another treasure of the city is the Big Wild Goose Pagoda, a majestic Buddhist structure that has stood for over 1,300 years. Climbing to the top of this iconic pagoda offered a panoramic view of Xi'an, while the surrounding gardens provided a peaceful retreat from the city's hustle and bustle. The history and spirituality of this site left a lasting impression on me. After the historical grandeur of Xi'an, my journey took me to the vast and open landscapes of Inner Mongolia, a place where the skies seem to stretch endlessly and nature unfolds in its raw and untamed beauty. Known for its rolling grasslands, desert expanses, and vibrant nomadic culture, Inner Mongolia offers a stark yet captivating contrast to the bustling cities of China. My adventure began in the Guilin hot grasslands, where endless fields of green stretched as far as the eye could see. Standing in the middle of this vast expanse, with the wind carrying the sweet scent of wildflowers, I felt a profound sense of freedom. Yurts, the traditional round tents of the Mongolian herders, dotted the landscape, their simplicity blending seamlessly with the natural surroundings. It was here that I experienced the warm hospitality of the nomadic people, who invited me to share a meal of roasted lamb and fermented mare's milk. Sitting around a fire under the starlit sky, I listened to their stories of life on the steppe, a lifestyle deeply connected to nature and tradition. One of the highlights of my visit was riding a horse across the open plains, a quintessential Inner Mongolian experience. As my horse trotted through the grasslands, I felt an exhilarating sense of adventure, as if I had stepped into the shoes of ancient warriors who once roamed these lands. The rhythm of the hooves and the sheer openness of the landscape made it a moment of pure connection with nature. From the grasslands, I ventured into the Gobi Desert, a place of stark beauty and rugged charm. The shifting dunes of the Singing Sand Bay were mesmerizing, their golden curves glowing under the sun. Climbing to the top of a dune and sliding down its sandy slopes brought out a childlike joy in me. The desert silence was profound, broken only by the gentle rustling of sand carried by the wind. As the sun set, the dunes turned shades of fiery orange and deep purple, creating a scene that felt almost otherworldly. Inner Mongolia is also a land rich in history and culture. I visited the Genghis Khan Mausoleum, a site dedicated to the legendary leader of the Mongol Empire. The mausoleum, surrounded by statues of warriors and horses, exudes a sense of reverence and pride in Mongolia's storied past. Learning about Genghis Khan's legacy and his influence on world history added depth to my understanding of this fascinating region. After the vast landscapes of Inner Mongolia, my journey brought me to Hangzhou, a city often described as heaven on earth. Nestled along the southern banks of the Yangtze River Delta, Hangzhou is a place where natural beauty, cultural heritage, and modern charm come together in perfect harmony. From the moment I arrived, I understood why poets, emperors, and travelers throughout history have fallen in love with this enchanting city. The heart of Hangzhou is undoubtedly West Lake, a serene and picturesque haven surrounded by willow-lined walkways, lush gardens, and misty hills. As I walked along its shores early in the morning, the tranquil waters mirrored the surrounding pagodas and bridges, creating a scene straight out of a classical Chinese painting. The air was filled with the soft scent of lotus flowers and the gentle sound of traditional zither music from a nearby pavilion added to the atmosphere. One of the highlights was taking a traditional wooden boat ride across the lake. Gliding through the still waters, I marveled at the three pools mirroring the moon, small stone pagodas rising from the lake that have become a symbol of Hangzhou's timeless beauty. As the boatmen shared tales of Westlake's legends and history, I felt immersed in the romance and mystique that have made this place so iconic. Exploring the surrounding area, I visited the Longjing Temple, one of China's most famous Buddhist temples. Nestled in a forested valley, the temple's name means Temple of the Soul's Retreat, and it truly felt like a place of peace and reflection. The intricately carved statues of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas inside were awe-inspiring, while the nearby Feilai Peak, with its ancient stone carvings of Buddhist figures etched into the cliffs, added a touch of mystery and history to the visit. Hangzhou is also renowned for its tea culture, and no visit would be complete without a trip to the Longjing tea plantations, home to the famous Dragonwell green tea. Walking through the terraced fields, I could see workers carefully plucking tea leaves by hand, a tradition passed down for generations. Sitting in a tea house overlooking the fields, sipping freshly brewed tea, and listening to the rustling leaves was an experience that embodied the essence of Hangzhou: simplicity, elegance, and a deep connection to nature. After the poetic charm of Hangzhou, my journey took me to Mount Qingcheng, a place revered as one of the birthplaces of Taoism and a haven of natural and spiritual tranquility. Nestled in Sichuan province and surrounded by misty mountains and lush greenery, Mount Qingcheng felt like stepping into a sanctuary where nature and spirituality exist in perfect harmony. From the base of the mountain, the towering peaks were shrouded in a veil of mist, creating an ethereal atmosphere that made the journey feel like an ascent into a mystical realm. The dense forest enveloping the mountain seemed alive with the sound of chirping birds, rustling leaves, and the occasional distant chime of a temple bell. Every step along the winding paths felt like a retreat from the noise of the modern world. One of the most memorable stops was Jianfu Palace, an ancient Taoist temple nestled at the base of the mountain. Its tranquil courtyard, shaded by centuries-old cypress trees, invited me to pause and reflect. The soft scent of incense filled the air as monks went about their daily rituals, their calm presence embodying the essence of Taoist philosophy. Walking through its halls adorned with intricate carvings and statues of Taoist deities, I felt a deep connection to the mountain's spiritual energy. Continuing upward, I reached the Tianxi Cave, the mountain's most significant Taoist site. According to legend, this is where Zhang Daoling, the founder of religious Taoism, practiced and spread his teachings. The cave and surrounding temples are filled with sacred relics and inscriptions that speak to the profound history of Taoism. After the spiritual serenity of Mount Qingcheng, my journey brought me to the breathtaking Longjing rice terraces, also known as the Dragon's Backbone rice terraces. Located in Guangxi province, these stunningly crafted landscapes are a testament to the harmonious relationship between humans and nature, stretching across the steep slopes like an intricate piece of art. As I arrived, the view was nothing short of awe-inspiring. The terraces, carved into the hillsides over 650 years ago, rose layer upon layer, resembling the scales of a dragon when seen from above. Depending on the season, the terraces offer a variety of mesmerizing vistas. When I visited, the fields were lush with vibrant green rice plants, shimmering in the sunlight and swaying gently in the breeze. It was a scene of tranquility and timeless beauty. Walking through the terraces, I marveled at the ingenuity of the Zhuang and Yao ethnic minorities who built and maintained these fields for centuries. The intricate irrigation systems and the precision of the terrace design are engineering marvels, created entirely by hand and adapted perfectly to the natural contours of the mountains. Every step along the narrow paths revealed new angles of this breathtaking landscape, from cascading layers of rice fields to distant peaks shrouded in mist. One of the highlights was hiking to the 9 Dragons and 5 Tigers viewpoint, where the terraces seemed to unfold endlessly across the valleys and hills. The view from this vantage point was unforgettable. Rows of terraces stretched into the horizon, their lines flowing seamlessly with the terrain. The name is fitting, as the curves and ridges resemble mythical dragons winding through the landscape. The cultural richness of Longjing is just as captivating as its natural beauty. Along the way, I encountered villagers from the Zhuang and Yao communities, dressed in their traditional attire, welcoming visitors with warm smiles. They shared stories of their lives, their agricultural practices, and the significance of the terraces to their heritage. I even had the chance to sample local dishes, including bamboo-cooked rice and freshly harvested vegetables, which were as simple as they were delicious. Visiting the Fujian village, perched on the slopes of the terraces, was another highlight. The wooden stilt houses, traditional architecture, and narrow stone paths gave the village an old-world charm. After the majestic views of the Longjing rice terraces, my journey brought me to Longjing Village, nestled in the lush hills of HANGZHOU, Zhejiang province. Known as the birthplace of the world-famous dragon well, Longjing tea, this charming village offers not only the finest green tea, but also a tranquil escape into the heart of China's tea culture. As I entered the village, I was greeted by rolling hills covered in neatly manicured tea plantations. The emerald green tea bushes seemed to stretch endlessly, their rows forming elegant patterns on the slopes. The air was filled with the fresh, earthy aroma of tea leaves, a scent that immediately set the tone for a serene and immersive experience. The heart of Longjing Village lies in its tea fields, where generations of farmers have cultivated dragon well tea using traditional methods. Walking among the tea bushes, I saw farmers delicately plucking the tender leaves by hand, their skill and precision honed through years of practice. They explained that only the youngest, most vibrant leaves are selected to create the finest tea, a process that reflects the care and dedication of this craft. One of the most memorable moments was visiting a traditional tea house overlooking the fields. Here, a local tea master performed a tea ceremony, demonstrating the meticulous steps involved in brewing the perfect cup of dragon well tea. Watching her graceful movements and listening to her stories about the history of Longjing tea made the experience deeply enriching. When I finally sipped the tea, its fresh, nutty flavor and silky smooth texture were unlike anything I had ever tasted, a true reflection of the land it came from. Exploring the village, I discovered its quaint charm. With narrow stone pathways winding through clusters of traditional houses, many of the homes double as tea shops, where villagers warmly invite you to sample their tea and learn about their family's unique production methods. I couldn't resist bringing back a pouch of freshly harvested Longjing tea as a souvenir, a piece of the village to cherish and share. Beyond the tea fields, Longjing Village is surrounded by natural beauty. A short walk took me to Jiuzhaigou scenic area, where streams meander through bamboo groves and waterfalls cascade over moss-covered rocks. The harmony between the tea culture and the natural environment was palpable, creating a sense of peace that felt restorative and grounding. After exploring serene villages and stunning natural landscapes, my journey brought me to Beijing, the vibrant heart of China, where ancient history and modern energy coexist in a captivating blend. As the capital of one of the world's oldest civilizations, Beijing is a city that tells stories of emperors and warriors, poets and revolutionaries, all set against the backdrop of cutting-edge skyscrapers and bustling streets. One of my first stops was the iconic Forbidden City, the massive imperial palace that once housed the emperors of the Ming and Qing dynasties. Walking through its towering crimson gates and into a world of ornate pavilions, vast courtyards, and intricate carvings felt like stepping into a living history book. Each hall and corner seemed to whisper secrets of the past, and I couldn't help but imagine the grandeur of imperial ceremonies that once took place here. Not far from the Forbidden City is Tiananmen Square, a place that stands as both a symbol of modern China and a witness to some of its most significant historical events. Standing in this vast open space, surrounded by landmarks like the Monument to the People's Heroes and the Great Hall of the People, I felt the weight of history mingling with the pulse of contemporary life. A visit to Beijing wouldn't be complete without exploring the Temple of Heaven, a masterpiece of Ming dynasty architecture and a sacred site where emperors once prayed for good harvests. The temple's circular design, representing heaven, and its vibrant blue-tiled roof stood out against the backdrop of the city. After the bustling energy of Beijing, my journey took me to the serene and breathtaking Lijiang River, a place of natural wonder that has inspired poets, painters, and travelers for centuries. Flowing through the heart of Guangxi province, this iconic river winds its way through some of China's most dramatic karst landscapes, creating a scene so picturesque it feels like stepping into a traditional Chinese scroll painting. Starting my journey in Guilin, I boarded a small river cruise that would take me along the most scenic stretches of the Lijiang River. As the boat glided gently through the calm waters, the towering limestone peaks began to rise around me, their jagged shapes reflected perfectly in the emerald green river. It was as if nature itself had sculpted these mountains with an artist's hand, creating a landscape both surreal and serene. One of the highlights of the journey was passing the Nine Horses Fresco Hill, a famous cliff face where natural patterns in the rock resemble 9 galloping horses. The boat guide shared the legend of how even emperors struggled to count all 9 horses, adding a touch of mystery and folklore to the experience. I found myself marveling not only at the beauty of the scene, but also at the stories that have been woven into this place over time. As we approached the small town of Yangshuo, the scenery became even more magical. The karst peaks seemed to grow taller and more numerous, their shapes mirrored in the water, creating a dreamlike symmetry. Fishermen in traditional bamboo rafts floated by, some with their trained cormorants perched at the ready, a sight that felt like stepping back in time. Their quiet presence added to the timeless charm of the river, a reminder of how deeply intertwined life here is with the lijiang. Arriving in Yangshuo, I was enchanted by the town's laid-back vibe and the way it seemed to blend seamlessly with the surrounding natural beauty. Exploring on foot, I wandered through its bustling markets, where local crafts, teas, and snacks offered a glimpse into the vibrant culture of Guangxi. From Yangshuo, I hopped on a bike to explore the nearby Yulong River Valley, where winding paths through rice paddies and ancient villages brought me even closer to the region's tranquility. After the tranquil beauty of the Lijiang River, my journey led me to the serene Puzhaochan Temple, a hidden gem nestled amidst the rolling hills and lush landscapes of China. This Buddhist sanctuary, known for its harmonious blend of spirituality and natural beauty, offered a deeply meditative experience that felt like a retreat for the soul. As I approached the temple, its golden rooftops gleamed softly under the sunlight, contrasting beautifully with the vibrant green surroundings. The temple complex was shrouded in an aura of calm, with the distant sound of chanting monks and the gentle rustle of leaves adding to the atmosphere. Passing through the temple gates, I was immediately greeted by a large courtyard adorned with intricately carved statues of bodhisattvas, symbolizing wisdom, compassion, and enlightenment. The architecture of Puzhaochan Temple was a perfect blend of traditional Chinese elegance and Buddhist symbolism. The main hall, with its towering Buddha statue, surrounded by flickering candles and clouds of incense, was the centerpiece of the complex. As I stood there, the profound serenity of the space enveloped me, encouraging quiet reflection. The murals on the walls depicted scenes from Buddhist teachings, their vibrant colors and intricate details, telling timeless stories of compassion and spiritual awakening. Wandering deeper into the temple grounds, I discovered a peaceful Zen garden, where carefully raked gravel patterns mirrored the flowing energies of nature. The garden's stillness invited me to pause and simply observe. Each stone, plant, and ripple seemed placed with thoughtful intention, embodying the principles of balance and harmony. One of the highlights of my visit was climbing a nearby hill to the bell tower, which offered breathtaking views of the temple and its surrounding landscape. The gentle toll of the temple bell echoed across the hills, its deep, resonant sound carrying prayers and blessings to the heavens. From this vantage point, I could see the temple nestled harmoniously into its natural surroundings, a testament to the Buddhist ideal of living in unity with nature. During my visit, I also had the chance to join a brief meditation session led by the monks. Sitting cross-legged in the quiet hall, focusing on the rhythm of my breath, I felt an overwhelming sense of peace. The simplicity and mindfulness of the practice reminded me of the beauty in slowing down and being present. Before leaving, I stopped by the temple's tea pavilion, where I sipped on a warm cup of freshly brewed herbal tea while taking in the stunning view of the mountains. The tea, grown locally and infused with traditional Chinese herbs, was both refreshing and grounding, a perfect conclusion to my time at Puzhaochan Temple. After the peaceful retreat of Puzhaochan Temple, my journey brought me to Zhuzhou, often called the Venice of the East, to explore its famous ancient gardens. Renowned for their exquisite design and timeless beauty, these gardens are masterpieces of Chinese landscaping, where nature and artistry blend seamlessly to create spaces of harmony and tranquility. My first stop was the humble administrator's garden, the largest and most iconic of Suzhou's classical gardens. As I stepped through its gates, I was immediately enchanted by its poetic elegance. Meandering pathways led me through lush greenery, tranquil ponds adorned with blooming lotus flowers, and intricately designed pavilions. The balance of water, rocks, plants, and architecture was mesmerizing, each element thoughtfully placed to evoke a sense of serenity. Sitting by one of the koi-filled ponds, I could see why this garden has been celebrated for centuries. It truly feels like stepping into a living painting. Next, I visited the Lingering Garden, a UNESCO World Heritage Site that embodies the art of traditional Chinese garden design. The garden's layout felt like a flowing narrative, with each turn revealing a new vignette. A gracefully arched bridge, a rockery resembling a mountain landscape, or a secluded bamboo grove. The Celestial Hall of Five Peaks, a pavilion framed by jagged rocks and soft greenery, left me in awe of the garden's ability to bring the grandeur of nature into an intimate space. One of the highlights of my time in Suzhou was wandering through the Master of the Net's garden, a smaller but equally captivating garden known for its intricate details. Its clever use of space, where every corner seemed to hold a surprise, a delicate moon gate, a reflecting pond, or a shaded pavilion,